We've looked at how the different ways of applying bad debts. We've looked at aging the accounts and figuring the estimate. We have looked at how to discern what the real bad debts is when you have beginning balances of credits and debits. And now we're going to look at the actual journal entries that you use throughout the year to adjust that allowance account. So, the very first one says we wrote off an account for Kathy Quantel for $84.40. And that very simply means, oh, what do I do? So first of all, you want to get her out of accounts receivable, right? And to get somebody out of accounts receivable, you have to credit them. So you credit for $84.40, and you're going to remove it out of the allowance. You've already taken the bad debts. Now you're just adjusting the allowance. So it gets credited for $84.40. Now, this allowance starts with a $36,000 balance. So I'm just going to debit that right now so we can see what happens with that. Now, you see how that changed the balance? The true balance now is $27,560. So that's our first one. Now, we received $3,000 as a partial payment on the $12,500 account of Oaks and wrote off the remaining. Oh, wow. Well, first of all, I know cash got debited for $3,000. And she owed us a total of $12,000. So, and we're going to write that off out of the account. Oops, let's try that. Now, how much do I take out of the allowance? Well, let's look at this. She gave us 3. We're writing off 12. That means $9,500 goes into the allowance. Or it comes out of the allowance. So again, I'm going to come up here and do $9,500. And we'll hope my numbers are right. See how my balance is going down in my allowance account? So that takes care of August 14th. Now, we received, oh my, Kathy came back and paid her bill. So, what do? Oh my, this is that two-step one. First of all, I've got to put her back into accounts receivable. And that's a debit, right? And now I took her out of accounts allowance up here, so I've got to put her back in. I've got to reverse that entry because it's no longer true. And I'm not quite finished with this. I have to accept that cash of $84.40. Oh my, I have to put it in the right place too, don't I? So cash gets debited for $84.40. And, okay, she doesn't owe it to us anymore because she paid it, so it comes out of accounts receivable, a two-step entry, and that's kind of hard to remember. Right, Kim? Just a bit hard to remember. But now I have to do an adjustment over here, so I've got to add that $84.40 back in because I took it out, now I put it back in. Okay, then I did this write-off of all of these. So I know the allowance account is going to be debited, but I don't know for how much, so I have to figure that up. So let's go with the flow here. Dolan gets, that's an AR Dolan, sorry. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. For 46. And Greg for 36. We're writing these all off. We're doing a blanket write-off. And Amber for for 7150 and A.R. Shannon for 2975 and Nikki for 6630. Now, what does that add up to be? Let's very quickly add that. So, we are taking out 24,955. And that needs to go away. So, that becomes a debit over here, right? 24,995. So, what do I have left in my account? I have 1505, and I think I did the same thing again. I did that in class too. So I have 1545 left in my allowance, right here. And now they say we need to do an adjusting entry for uncollectible accounts. Well, we have to figure that. So we have to come down and go to the next part that they give us and do the estimation. So this times this equals, and they told me I had one too many zeros on that. So I corrected that. Make sure you correct it on yours. Now I just pull these down. Those are my individual totals. And it comes up that I need a balance of 47,090 in my other sheet. If I can get there. Entries, there. That was interesting. So, I need 47,990. This needs to be 4790. It's actually 37090. And it's 15. So this is our beginning credit. And this is what we need to have. That needs to be our ending. What do I have to do to get that? Well, if you remember from the previous one we did, I need an adjusting credit in here. And that's why they call it an adjusting account. So my adjust, what does it take to get 1545 to equal 4709? Well, we just subtract, right? So let's see what we get. So we have this minus this equals 45,545. And that becomes your bad debts expense. That's your adjusting entry is bad debts, debit, 45545, and the allowance account gets credited for that amount, 45,545. And that's how you do that. So you're always adding these, or you're always keeping a running balance. That becomes our beginning. So this was our 47,090. The balance was 1545, and the adjustment needed was 45,545. Clear as mud? We'll keep going. We're going to do another. Now we're going to do the homework, so hold on.